That's fine. So my name is Hassan, and a little bit about myself. I play the oboe. I'll write a little bit. And unlike most of you, I grew up in Florida. Where it is basically 75 degrees every day and it's beautiful. All right? So at Christmas time, I love going home to Florida because who can guess what the temperature is on Christmas Day in Florida? Around 75 degrees. All right? So I leave New York City where I'm freezing, and I go home to Florida, and you may be thinking, 75 degrees on Christmas? That's not Christmas. But for me, 75 degrees at Christmas means I'm going to the beach. All right? So I had a different background. I grew up, I went to public school. And at public school, I started playing the oboe in 6th grade. I was about 10, 11 years old. And now I am 30 years old. And I know, that's old, right? That's old, right? Okay. Because every time I tell kids how old I am, they go, oh, yes. I remember when I was your age, so I've been playing the oboe for 20 years. All right? Now, a lot of you may be asking me, has it gotten any easier? And the answer is no. It's still really hard. But I've learned how to practice more and prepare more. How many of you have been playing your instrument for at least 5 years? Okay. What about 2 years? 1 year. Less than 1 year.
They're more than that? 3.
How many have been playing for more than 3 years? Or 3 years? 3. Okay, good, good. So I hope that, so as you spend more time playing your instrument, what you will learn is that your instrument will be your pathway to take you to places that you have never dreamed. I want to tell you a story because I think it is extremely important in the world that we're currently living in. So my name is Hassan, and my father was Muslim. And my instrument, over the last 3 years, has taken me to the country of Israel 3 times. And every time I go to Israel, because my name is Hassan, it's very hard for me to get through security. All right? They say your name is Hassan, we just want to make sure everything is well. But what I experienced every time I went to Israel, and I played not only the music of American people, but Israeli music, that the people cried. The people were so moved that they cried. So the idea that I, Hassan, growing up American with a Muslim father, could go to Israel and play Israeli music and people shake my hand with tears after concert really speaks to the power of music. And a lot of you, I don't know how far you travel, but your instrument can be the gateway to take you to anywhere you want to go. Some of you might want to go to Europe, some of you might want to go to Africa, some of you might want to travel to places in the Middle East. Your instrument can be your gateway. Also, your instrument can be a place to take you to many different places in this country. It also can help open your world and expand your imagination. And I want to make sure that you understand today that what you do is very special. Being a musician and playing music is very special. It makes you very different. Not only will playing music help you in school with all your different subjects, but what you will find that it's going to open your life to many experiences that you're not planned before. So like I said, I grew up in Jacksonville, Florida, and I went to middle school and public high school. And after about, how many of you do something other than play an instrument? That is very good to hear, right? We want to make sure that you guys are well. How many of you guys play a sport? Okay, what sport do you play?
Track and field.
What is it?
Track and field.
Track and field. What about you?
Soccer and swimming.
Anybody play tennis? Tennis? Anybody do any kind of football? Oh, I like that. Flag football, baseball, anybody? Now I'm going to ask this question because the school I work in is actually a sport they teach now. Anybody do kickball? No kickball? Okay. I know parents, that sounds ridiculous, but at school I teach it, there's a kickball team, they have tournaments. So things have changed a lot. So I grew up and I played tennis, and I was this close to becoming a professional tennis player. I would have been probably playing with Serena and Venus and all those people today. Except one thing happened. My tennis lesson and my oboe lesson ended up on the same day. So we did this for about 2 years. Tennis, oboe. And my mom, being the genius she is, I'll never forget, we're in the car, she was driving, and she said, you know, I think you're going to have to choose which one you want to do. I was like, what? She goes, you have to choose. All right, have a good lesson. So I got in the car, and I had to choose, was I going to be playing the oboe or tennis? Now, I decided to play the oboe. I know what you all are thinking. You really messed up. Right? I could be rich and famous and on TV, but I did choose the oboe. And I chose the oboe because I felt like it was something that helped me express what I was feeling on the inside. How many of you, when you're feeling sad or you're not so happy, turn on music? How many of you, when you just got your report card and you know your mom's going to see it, and you might not have an A, but you got a C or something worse, and you know you got to show that report card to your mom, she says, go to your room. And you secretly, what do? You turn on a little bit of music, right? Yeah. And so music has a very important part of our lives. And I felt that music helped me really connect with myself. How many of you feel better and different when you play your instruments? Good. And I'm so glad you guys are being honest. I'm all about honesty. A lot of you may not be to the point where you feel that, but if you keep going, I promise you will. A lot of you may be still saying, oh, this instrument, it drives me crazy. I hate practicing. How many of you hate practicing? I don't know. Right? The secret is I hate it too. I hate it too. No one loves to practice, all right? But you have to, because if you don't, you'll go on stage and you'll embarrass yourself, right? And people say, oof, I don't want to hear that. But what you do is you learn to understand that there's some necessary struggles that you must go through to play your instrument. So a little bit about what I do. I am what you call a freelance musician. Oh, actually, let me take a step back. So I went to undergraduate school in Florida, a school called Stetson University. I left there and I went to just a very small school. Many of you probably have never heard of it. Some school called the Juilliard School. They don't really. They only accept the people who can barely play. I went to Juilliard and I did my master's degree at Juilliard. And let me tell you something. It was hard. It was hard, right? There was no excuses for anything. You know, you come in, you have a lesson, and so your teacher say, "Why didn't you practice?" And you say, "Well, you know, I was sick for 4 days." And they would say, "Aren't there 7 days in a week?" Or you say, "Why did you practice?" You say, "Well, my grandma's sick. My granny's sick." They say, "Isn't she old? Don't old people get sick?" I would go, "Yes, but still, like, no excuses." Or you go in, and I have a great lesson. Why? Well, I broke my arm this week. Well, don't you have 2 arms? So that's the first time in my life I realized there was just not an excuse for anything. You couldn't get away with anything. And so what that taught me is that, you know, for the adults, you understand that you have to get it together. And for you guys, it meant that you had to really be super dedicated. You had to do whatever it took to make sure that you achieved week after week. So I graduated from Juilliard in about 2011, and since then, I have split my time between teaching. I have been a classroom teacher. I now teach at the Juilliard School, and the thing I love about this program is it reminds me of the program that I teach of, and parents, I hope you can establish a connection. My program I teach in is called the Music Advancement Program at Juilliard. And the goal of the Music Advancement Program is to recruit minority students, to recruit students who play instruments that are underrepresented, like how many tuba players do we have in here? No oboe players in here, right? How many string players do we have in here? Exactly, right? So, and also to give people and students like you the opportunities to have really high-level private lessons and musical training from people. And this program is called MAP, and it stands for the Music Advancement Program. I should just say one word to the adults. I don't know if this happens to you, but I have developed a new fear. And it's a fear of writing in public. Because all the texting and the words and the autocorrect, I feel like I can't spell anything. I was literally in an interview a couple of days and I had to write out the word imagination. And I was so nervous, I was like, just imagine, never mind. The lady dropped and she goes, I understand. Right? And so every week we work with students because we want them to develop their skills and to grow and get better. So a couple things I want to just talk to you about. How many of you are interested in pursuing a career in music? How many of you are kind of like, oh, I don't know. Good. How many of you think you will pursue something other than music? Okay. Like what? What are you interested in?
Acting.
You're going to be an actress. Correct? And you?
Lawyer.
Oh. Will you be my lawyer one day? Okay. What else? A judge. Okay. So, yes, nice.
Programming and physics.
Physics. Okay. I think I'm going to turn my computer on, so can you help me after this? So, and hold on, yes. Oh, you're going to be a singer, so you possibly a musician. So, a couple things I want to say, and I want to make sure that we talk about. The first thing I want to encourage you and to say is this, and the parents are going to kill me. So parents, you can beat me up after. We used to say, kids, I work with a lot of parents and a lot of students, and the one thing that all parents tell their children is that you are special. You're special. Hey, you're special. You're so special. But this is the thing that parents are going to not like. You're not special. You understand it? I agree. Okay, everybody, thank you. Have a good evening. You're not special.
It's true.
Now, why am I saying this?
Because it's true.
It is important. For the most part. The reason I say this is because we live in a society where we have a lot of young people who believe they are special. And it has done a tremendous disservice to your work ethic. You are not special. However, your work ethic, your character, your values, your humanity can make you special.
True.
If you decide to be a person who lives with integrity and honor, and God knows tells the truth, you'll be special. If you're a person who works hard, really, really hard, and everyone else is cheating and they make an A and you get a B plus because you decide not to cheat, you'll be special. So it's important for you to understand is that no one is special, but you can be special, you can have a great life, and you can have a special life if you decide to live that life with honesty and integrity and work hard. How you become special is by working hard and achieving, and then being a good citizen, and most importantly, being respectful to your parents. Let me get to my second point. Why is it important for you to be respectful to your parents? It costs $8,500. And, sorry, this always happens to me. And my mother sold her car to buy that instrument for me. She sold her car and took the bus to work so I could have that instrument. that means these people are making tremendous sacrifices for you. They get up, they go to work, they work really hard. They don't always know how they're going to figure it out. But all of you look so beautiful, and you smell so good, and you have these fancy, nice glasses. Glasses are really expensive. And it's because someone cares for you. And so, as a part of your growth and your development, you should be extremely respectful to your parents. They are the ones who are going to help you get to where you want to get to. All right? So, I know sometimes it can be rough. You guys are getting to that age where she's like, you know, do this. You're like, I don't want to do that. You know? You guys also grew up in a different world. When I was growing up, he's like, I don't like, oh. it took one of those, and that was over, right? You know. But, you know, we want to be more sensitive, right? So make sure that you are respectful of your parents. Also, I want to say that we live in a society now that really reflects what we call first half of life values. That means that you're only somebody if you're rich, and if you're beautiful, and if you're famous, and all this stuff. I would encourage you to not look for role models that you see on TV who are famous and rich, but look around to the ordinary people in the world who are doing extraordinary work. Instead of worrying about building a container, think about what do I want to put inside my container? What you put inside that container will help you become the type of person you want to be. The reason why we have this wonderful program is because there are people on this earth like Miss Jessica, and maybe one day I'll be as good as her, who realize that there is a gap in opportunity. And they have made it their job, and I have made it my job, to get to the work of making sure that we can give you all the best exposure opportunity possible. When I was at Juilliard, there were 600 people in the orchestra department. There were only 3 African American people, myself and 2 other people. It was a tremendous experience being there, but people had not invested in the energy and work that people like Ms. Jessica has to make sure that we have orchestras and communities to look like all of us. So, what is your job? Why am I here? On a Sunday, on a rainy Sunday, when I should be in bed, you know, watching Netflix. It's because you have a job to do. You have a job to do. Let me tell you what it is. We live in a society that people don't... How many of you know Beethoven? Right. How many of you know Taylor Swift? How many of you know Mozart? Good. How many of you know Kanye West? Okay, that's good. That's good. Great. When you walk out this door, for the most part, no one cares about what we do. You understand? Classical music, that stuff is for those people. I don't know, who is Beethoven? That's not cool. You play the cello, that's nerdy. What's an oboe? Right? And so what your job is to, first of all, understand that being a musician is cool enough. If other people don't think it's cool, then that's their problem. You know, when you're an adult, you call it, that's their stuff, right? Also, but I want you guys, as you go out in the community or wherever you go, I want you to be advocates for classical music. I want you to talk to your friends. I know this seems ridiculous. You know, you guys are talking about what happened last night on the TV show, and you're texting like, oh my God, I got a new sweater from H&M, and it was only $12, and I love that H&M red sweater, and where can I get an H&M red sweater? Oh my God, right? And someone's like, oh my God, I got the same pink sweater from H&M, but I got it for $3 cheaper. And then you're like, Beethoven is the bomb. And then everyone's like, Beethoven's the bomb. Right, so what I mean is that I want you guys to try in your churches, on the subway, to your friends, try to get them interested in classical music. Talk about classical music. Tell your friends when you just hang around like, I heard this piece, or my group is playing a piece by Beethoven, and I'm going to send it to you. Would you listen to it? And what you will find is that most people are really interested in what we do, but we have to share it. Why is that? Because if we don't get very serious about sharing what we do, going to concerts, advocating for classical music, it won't exist. If you go to a concert right now, how many old people do you see? A lot of old people. And I got bad news. And this is how I know I'll never be invited to talk here again. Those people are going to die one day. Sorry, I know parents are going to get me. Just one at a time. One at a time. Just beat me up one at a time. Okay? And who's going to replace them? At this rate, nobody. So who has to do it? Come on, folks. I know you're shocked. Who has to do it? Let's say we do. Ready? We do. Okay, come on. Y'all killing me. A little bit more. You're killing me. A little more enthusiasm. Here we go. We do. You said this is an honor school? I hate to see this. One more time. Who has to do it? We do. Good. Now, it may seem trivial, but I'm telling you, my friends can't stand me. They can't stand me. I am advocating for classical music all the time. People say, what do you want to do one day? I said, well, I'm going to be the president of Juilliard. And they go, oh, that makes sense. You know why? It's because I'm super serious about it. I think what we do is really special. Now, let's go back into adult talk. Another reason why this is very important, because you are living in a world where, people think that, some of the only important people are people who play sports or people who work on Wall Street and make a lot of money. Their contributions to society are very important, absolutely. But we also have to be a part of the conversation. So I want you guys to promise me that this week, on your text messages, when y'all know y'all supposed to be in the bed, because y'all mama already told you, go to sleep, and you go in the room, you pull up covers, and you like this or you text it, and then you wake up like, I'm so tired. It's because you've been up all night texting. And try to share your passion for classical music with your friends. Now, I play in a group called Shuffle Concert, and a part of what we do is we play music of all different styles. So we play jazz, we play classical music, and we play pop music, and we play, I don't know if we play R&B, but if we don't, we gotta get on that. R&B on the oboe is a little bit, I don't work so well, And what we have found is that a lot of people who may not like classical music, when they have the opportunity to hear classical music next to other musical styles, they get really excited. They get really excited, and they love to do it. I set my timer, so I won't talk too much. Let's see how much time I have. Ooh, I didn't start the timer, so I'll read you this. Because, it's nothing worse than adults who talk too much. And, so I want to finish by saying that this year, I went to the administration of my program and I said, all of our students must go out to the community and they must go in every place they go and advocate for why classical music is important. They're like, Mr. Anderson, my God, you really? I was like, it has to happen, it has to happen. So this year, I'm happy to report that all 70 students in the Music Advancement Program, I led a special project, and they went and they performed out in the community. And as a part of their community, they spoke about why what we do is important, and they also engaged the audience. And I just want to read some of the reflections, that some of the things I highlighted, because they all wrote essays. One young man wrote, "Going forward, I will perceive music as a gift that cannot be manipulated, but only truly expressed through the love for the art itself. I can now understand that music changes and inspires, teaches, and helps everyone in all types of ways." During this project, impacted the audience I served by making them very happy. They were talking about the pieces like the composers, their memories, and more. I knew that they felt this way because they were all smiling and saying how beautiful I played at the end. Some residents even asked me to come back. This person played at a nursing home. This project will change the way I approach my music studies in the future because I always want to make an impact on people's lives by going to different places to share my love of music with them. This experience has changed my life, changed the way I approach musical studies because it is teaching me how to present myself as a musician. I'm learning how to play my pieces with emotion instead of just playing the notes on the page. I learned how to shape my music for my audience while not diminishing my ideas. This project has taught me the meaning of the quote from Einstein, "If you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough." Because I had to teach advanced musical concepts to people with little or no musical background. And finally, if I inspire even one student, this boy went back to his kindergarten class. If I inspire even one of the students, I can say that my mission for this project is completed, and my journey to inspire other people has started. This is what music does. Music inspires people. And these kids range from 9 years old to 15 to 16 years old. So, let me just look at my notes. I guess what I would say in conclusion is that, first of all, Jessica, thank you for inviting me. So much fun, so much fun. Someone asked me to stay to a concert. I said, no, I get to go talk to kids. I love that. In the end, it is not about music. It's not about the instrument. It's not about people. It's about love. If we are going to live a life that is full and rich, and we're going to have a world that we want to live in, a society we want to live in, we have got to get back, keep going further and deeper in our process of love. My oboe was one of the first things that wasn't my family that I really fell in love with. That instrument, which I have been with for now 10 years, it has brought me immense happiness, joy, pain, severe pain on many occasions. But the whole picture is love, right? And so whatever you choose to do, however you choose to do it, I would encourage you to do it because you love it. One of the great things I love that Maya Angelou says is that when she left her mother's house at the age of 18, her mother says, "When you step across my door frame, you have been raised." You know the difference between right and wrong, and good and bad, so do good. I don't know how long you guys are going to be here in this program, but what I would encourage you to do is to show up excited, show up energized, and show up with an open heart. Because if you can show up with an open heart, you will not imagine how much love will be poured into it. By the music, by each other, and by your teachers. So I hope you guys have a really fantastic summer. I wish you all the happiness in your musical studies, and I wish you a life that can be as good, better, and as great as you hope it will be. So thank you very much. And so one of the most difficult things about playing the instrument, because you have to make these by hand, right? So I spend about 30 hours a week making reeds. And then the other time I practice, right? And when I was in school, I used to get in trouble for practicing too much. Because my teacher said, your reeds are terrible. Stop practicing. So, any other questions while I get my instrument together? Yes.
Does your students make excuses too?
Well, they try, but I am so mean that they usually give up after a month. So I walk, so, you know, for the most part, they know how I am. I'm super intense because I'm giving 130%. Sometimes I have to be like, relax, he's only 6 years old. Usually, so, you know, sometimes it's like this. Somebody comes in and they're like, and I'm like, I was like, try that again. They're like, and they look at me, and I look at them, and I usually say, did you practice? And they're like,
Well, you know, I had soccer practice, and you know, my chess team went to the finals, and I had this chemistry project up.
did you practice?
Well, you know, my aunt is visiting, and you know, she's visiting from South Carolina. We just love it when our aunt comes.
And I'm like, I usually look at them, and I go, next time we walk in here, and you don't practice, I'm going to put you out of my room. And they're like, oh. I was like, you're wasting my time. I had to get up at 6 o'clock this morning, and there's nothing worse than hearing bad oboe playing at 8:30 in the morning. I can tell you from experience. So usually that happens one time in the fall, and they're like, oh! And next week they're like, and I'm like, my goodness, that's really good. They're like, practice. I'm like, I know you did. So I usually have to do that. I usually have to do that one time in the fall, one time in the spring. Yes, ma'am.
So that's what my math teacher says. Let's say you get an F when you're doing a test or something in my program. She's like, you're wasting my time. I woke up really early and you did a bad job. And then she sits you down.
Okay, I don't know about that math teacher, but there are two versions of this, and I'm going to make sure clear. There's one version that when they say that to you, you go tell your parents and let your parents talk to that math teacher, right? That's one version, because there might be, it's very different because that's what she gets paid to do, right? There's another version that says, what I'm saying is, I'm giving you 150%. I'm here. I just took your oboe to be fixed. I spent 3 hours. The bill was $250. I made the program pay for it. You were sick last week. I ran up to the vending machine and got you a salsa water. That's what happened with the student. And I'm giving 150% and you're giving me 50%. That doesn't work for me. So that conversation is, I need you to meet me halfway. I don't mind giving 200%, you giving 100, but you got to give your 100. Okay, let's see what this thing sounds like. So what I would do is I will play, since we have all these string players, a string piece. Alright? So I'll play the opening, I'll play the slow solo from the Brahms Violin.